Hello students, I am Dr. Suruchi Singh from School of Legal Studies, Babu Banarsi Das University. Today we will cover the topic Defenses available under defamation under the law of torts. Apart from the general defenses available to all torts, there are three special defenses which are available only in case of defamation. First is justification. It means where the defamatory statement is true, it is completely justified. Second defense is fair comment. It implies that comments honestly believed to be true and not vitiated by malice or untrue facts. And the third defense is privilege. It denotes an excuse or immunity conferred by law on statement made on certain occasions, however defamatory they may be. Let us first discuss justification, where the defendant successfully proves that the concerned defamatory statement is true. It will be a complete defense to absolve him from liability. However, in criminal proceedings instituted against the accused for the offence of defamation under section 356 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, this defense of truth will be available as a defense only when it is in public goods. In the case of Alexander versus North East Railway Company 1865, the defendants published a news item that the plaintiff had been convicted for travelling in a train without a ticket and was sentenced to a fine of £1 with an alternative of 3 weeks imprisonment, whereas in fact the alternative was 2 weeks imprisonment. On plaintiff suing the railway for defamation, the court held that the statement was substantially true and the defendant was not liable. In another case, Miss Simi Grewal versus T. N. Ramachandran and another 1974, the plaintiff, a reputed film actress who played a female role in a picture named Siddharth, was shown standing nude in one of the scenes wearing only certain jewelry before the actor, who was kneeling before her with folded hands. The defendants printed a colored photograph of this scene on the front page of the magazine. The plaintiff sought an injunction and complained of defamation. She alleged that the defendant published her nude photograph in order to defame her in the film industry. The defendant contended that the plaintiff had consented to publication of that nude photograph in American magazines and they were accordingly published there, and it has also been published in many local weeklies. Besides, the publication being based on real and true facts was not actionable as defamation. Accepting the defendant's plea, the High Court of Bombay dismissed the suit of the plaintiff as it was based on the true facts and not intended to defame her. Let's discuss what is fair comment. When the statement was a fair comment in public interest, comment means expression of an opinion. The essentials of this defense are: it must be a comment that is expression of opinion. Second, comment must be fair. Third, comment must be in public interest. Comments and statement of facts are different. Comment is an expression of opinion or certain facts and circumstances and not statement of facts. Comment should be fair. No comment can be fair which is based on untrue facts. Thus, when commenting on play, it was stated that play portrays vulgarity as it contains a scene of rape, while in fact there is no such scene. The comment is not fair. Similarly, when A says about a book written by Z that Z's book is indecent and therefore he must be of perverted mind, these are comments based on Z's book and therefore A is protected if he has said this in good faith. But if A says I am not surprised if Z's book is indecent, for he is weak man and libertine. It's not a comment on Z's book, but it's a statement of fact, for which the defense of fair comment is not available. Let's discuss the relationship between malice and fair comment. Malice destroys the fair comment and defendant is held liable. It was held in the case law of Telnikov versus Matyushevich in 1991. It is for the plaintiff to prove malice of the defendant. In Thomas versus Bradbury Agnew and Company Limited, the defendant published in their magazine Punch a review of a biographical book written by the plaintiff. The biography was that of a reputed journalist lately deceased, and the review was under the caption Mangled Remains. The article implied that the writer of the book lacked skill and the work was an insult on the deceased person. There was insufficient evidence of the personal hatred and enmity of the reviewer of the book towards the plaintiff. Here, the court held that the malice of the defendant converted an otherwise fair comment into an unfair or malicious comment. Fair comment, when done on the matters of public interest, is protected by law, and therefore it is accepted as a good defense against an action for defamation. A news correspondent or an editor of a newspaper may comment on the conduct of the public man, but if he imputes dishonesty or corruption, he must be prepared to justify it by concrete evidence. The third defense which we need to discuss is privilege. It is an excuse or immunity conferred by law on statement or communication made on certain occasions, however defamatory or malicious they may be. The justification for conferring these privileges on certain specified occasions is to enable a person to express his views freely and frankly on matters which are in public interest or in national interest. Let's discuss the types of privileges. There are two types of privileges. One is absolute, another is qualified privilege. Absolute privilege are the statements when no action lies even though it is false, deliberate or defamatory. It becomes a striking balance between individual interest and the interest of the community. There are certain examples of absolute privileges. First, parliamentary proceedings. No action shall lie for statements made by members of either House of Parliament during the parliamentary proceedings, however defamatory or malicious it may be. This privilege is also mentioned in Article 105 of Constitution of India. Similar protection extends to the members of the State Legislative Assembly or Council during the proceedings of the State Assembly or Council. It is mentioned in Article 194 of Constitution of India. But this privilege does not extend to any publication which has not been made under the authority of the Parliament or the state legislature, as the case may be. Second absolute privilege is a fair and accurate reports of the parliamentary proceedings. All the reports, papers, votes and proceedings ordered to be published by either House of the Parliament or state legislature are absolutely privileged and no action lies for anything which is defamatory contained therein. And the third absolute privilege is judicial proceedings. Any statement made by a judge, jury, party witness or counsel for parties in course of judicial proceedings with whatever motive is absolutely privileged. Similar immunity extends to tribunals exercising judicial powers, but absolute privilege does not extend to courts or the tribunals which are entrusted with quasi-judicial works such as income tax tribunal or the court of reference constituted under the Unemployment Insurance Act 1920 in England. Let us discuss what is qualified privilege. A statement is said to be qualified privilege if it is made about a person in discharge of some duty which may be legal, moral or social, whether public or private. Malice destroys the qualified privilege. A communication is said to be covered under qualified privilege if it is made about a person in discharge of some duty which may be legal, moral or social, whether public or private. The defense of qualified privilege in an action against defamation may extend to the following instances. First, when the statement is made in self-defense. Second, when the statement has been made in discharge of duty which may be of legal, moral or public nature. Third, when the communications are made in public interest. Fourth, fair and accurate reports of the proceedings in Parliament or in court of justice or in any public meetings. When the defendant has an interest in making the communication to a third person and that third person has a corresponding interest receiving it. And lastly, when the statement is made for the redressal of a grievance. Thank you for listening patiently.